It's we'll call us back to order from this morning. This is the evening session of the public meeting for the subdivision regulations and land development ordinance. First of all, we'll have Mr. Wood present the staff report.
Okay. Well, since everybody in the room, I believe, with the possible exception of the press, which I will discuss after the public hearing, heard the spiel this morning, I'm not sure that it makes sense to go through it all.
I agree with you.
We agree.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
But it is important, and we do want to have input. And as a group, both the Planning Commission and this group, we still have some decision points to reach before we get to the final draft. And again, particularly some of the detailed engineering sections, I really want to have some engineers take a look at that. And if there's something that does not adversely affect the ordinance in terms of protecting the public that can accommodate developers, we're more than willing to consider that. If they say, look, you know, if this is 8,000 instead of 10,000, it works much better for us. And again, if that doesn't substantially change the protection for the public, we're willing to work on those areas.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone present that wants to speak in support of the ordinance? Is there anyone present that wants to speak in opposition to the ordinance? There being no further comment or discussion.
Let me ask a question, just so we can get it on public record.
Okay, go ahead.
What time frame are you looking at, Rich? I want to know about what time I can vote on this.
Well, it's pretty much what I laid out. We're probably looking at 4 to 6 weeks to get the review process involved. We still have to contract with the engineers for review. We still have to do the forms, that sort of thing. So I'm looking at mid to late August that we have.
Mid to late August to be put on for vote?
For the actual vote. Now,
Okay.
one thing to keep in mind, because this is a little different, there's two things to keep in mind. One is, instead of the 15-day notice that you typically have with an ordinance, under code, this has to be 30-day notice. And the other thing is, you want to be sure that you pretty much have your final document when you do that, because if there's any, quote, substantial changes, you have to go through the whole process again, another 30 days,
Oh,
another
30-day process.
the whole thing. And what might not seem to be a substantial change to you or me, 2 years down the road, the attorney who's arguing that it was improperly adopted and therefore it should be thrown out might have a different view as what a substantial change might have been.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was good to have public knowledge about what time frame we were talking about.
Okay.
I just want to add that you had said, and I'll use your words, that when we were looking at this ordinance for subdivision and, quote, land development ordinance, the three things I really liked what you said was you were looking at workable, reasonable, and effective rules. And I think that's what the three county commissioners are looking for, so we can move this forward for the health and safety and welfare of the public. And I think we are still asking for input. So just because people didn't show up at the public hearing, I think we want to make sure that they can have input and contact you.
Yeah. Well, certainly anybody can contact our office anytime during the process, but we will have a meeting with the Planning Commission where we
Okay.
go over the plans, maybe 2 meetings, depending on if there's substantial revisions before they actually vote to recommend to this body. And of course, we'll have the formal public hearing.
Okay, being no further comment,
Move,
I have a motion.
yeah, move to adjourn.
We would need to close the public meeting first.
Oh, I moved to close the public meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now
I move to adjourn.
And I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.